Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. At least the ones that are still here. I've had some people that have just kind of said, "Screw you, I'm done with you," and I get it. I'm okay with that. I'm okay because you don't want to necessarily have people that always just agree with you. You need actually a little tension and discussion and things like that. And if me voicing my opinion doesn't work for you, I get that. I'm okay. This is cool. And I wish all of you the best of luck. But for everybody else that's still here, thank you for still being here. And those who are just kind of watching, a little bit, we got space now. We got space. So if you click that red button, that subscribe button, bam, you can take up one of those slots. Or you can hit that membership button, that join button right there, boom, hit that, and you get a shot glass so we can all work on this stuff together. But anyway, let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football guys. Wake up this morning, guys. Wake up. Wake up. So, as we sit here, 98 days, 9 hours, 29 minutes, and 50 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season, where the Dallas Cowboys will be in LA taking on the Rams. I want to get back to football and start thinking. We've had so much turnover in the roster. I mean, from the coaching staff to losing a Travis Frederick to losing a Jason Witten or a Randall Cobb, and so on defense, losing Robert Quinns and Jeff Heaths and Byron Jones. I want to take a look at potentially the biggest impact on a positive side as well as on a negative side. And today I'm going to start with the positive side for the offense. What will be the biggest upgrade or improvement possibility for the Dallas Cowboys offense? What will be the player that you say that position really, really made us a better team? I know a lot of people will say, well, you get rid of Dak Prescott, put Andy Dalton in, that'll improve the team. Okay, I'm done with you. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Because putting in a stationary, older quarterback who can't move is not going to be an upgrade in today's football, okay? Let's be real. Being able to move around in the pocket, being able to use your legs, as you can see, the Russell Wilsons, the Lamar Jacksons, the Pat Mahomes, that is the quarterbacks that are doing it. It's not the stationary older guys that can't move anymore. It's just not. That's why Phillip Rivers and Andy Daltons and Joe Flacco's are signing team-friendly deals to go elsewhere because the NFL has evolved. But seriously, potentially wise, we didn't actually have a lot of change on the offense, but that doesn't mean that you can't have somebody that turns around from where they were, being like the most improved. Now, you could look and say, well, Dak, honestly, threw for almost 5,000 yards. You don't see Dak Prescott necessarily throwing for much more than that. I mean, he had 30 TDs and 8 interceptions. That's great numbers. That's numbers that we just hope we can get to that point. If we get some more on that, that's great. But you don't see and say, oh, we're going to get 6,000 yards passing. That's not even realistic. You look at the offensive line. Well, we're not really changing and upgrading any place. We're changing from Travis Frederick to Joe Looney. I would hope that Looney could be as close to Travis Frederick was last year, maybe a little bit better. But I don't see that as a big impact that's going to change the team. Connor Williams will be coming back. Hopefully that knee from the ACL surgery will be in good shape, and hopefully he can improve on, he's been a little bit nicked up. He's had good times and bad times, but you kind of want a little bit more from him. So you don't look at that being a position that's going to be a major improvement. We know Tyron Smith, the last, I believe, 4 years, has always missed 3 games. He's still, when he does play, still one of the best. I guess you could say if he played all 16 games at that level, you could say that could be a major boost. But I'm not going to say that. A lot of people will say, hey, I know where it's going to be. It's CD Lamb, baby. It's CD. That's going to be the biggest improvement for us, for the team. And I was saying, pump your brakes on that one. Pump your brakes on that one. And the reason I say that is, regardless of the potential of wide receivers coming out, very few come out and have like a rookie season like Odell Beckham Jr. does. It usually takes some time for the receivers to go. You can look at Michael Gallup and see his rookie year versus the second year, and the expectations now are for him to take an even bigger step. So don't necessarily expect CeeDee Lamb to come out the first year and be a 1,000-yard receiver with all of the people around. And besides, you had, if we look at Randall Cobb, did some damage. He had 828 yards, averaged 15.1 yards per completion, and had TDs and had 3 other ones called back. I would be ecstatic if we can just keep that at that same level or maybe a little bit better. So potentially you look at it and say, yeah, well, CD did average like 20 plus yards per reception. Maybe he ends up being a red zone threat. Yeah, okay, that's possible. I just don't think that that's going to be the spot that you're going to see a major leap. You can look at Zeke Elliott and say, okay, he's not holding out. He's not going to be running on the beaches of Cabo. That maybe he'll be more focused. Now, we had 1,300 some odd yards. Well, that's really only 200 yards down from, his best season. He had a few drops in there, and he didn't have the big plays. You could look and say, well, maybe we get a big boost from Zeke Elliott. Well, if we get another 200 yards and a couple more touchdowns, that helps, but that's not a major spot where you're going to improve a lot. Now, keep in mind, all of these positions just improving by 5% would be incredible, but potentially the location where you may all of a sudden have a game changer on offense, potentially in one of the more important positions that we have taken for granted for a while, is actually tight end. Jason Witten is a Hall of Famer. Jason Witten has been one of the best guys on the team from a leadership standpoint, from a community guy, from a guy you look up to and say, I want to be like him. But unfortunately, football has one thing that always happens to everybody, is age. Age is undefeated. And Jason Witten has been going downhill for a while. To give you some numbers that really kind of put it in perspective, Jason Witten averaged 35 yards, and this is not because whenever I kind of talk about somebody, they'll say, oh, you're just throwing them under the bus. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I'm putting out the real deal of what's going on. It's the truth. Jason Witten averaged 35 yards a game this past year. The last time he averaged only 35 yards a game, or less than that, was his rookie year in 2003. 35 yards a game from your tight end is not much in this day and age. On the season, he had 63 receptions, good number in receptions, 8.4 yards per reception, 529 yards, 72% completion percentage, 4 TDs, which is meaning that his touchdown percentage per catch is .06. Not exactly earth-shattering numbers. And here's the thing that you have to understand. If you start looking back at past Super Bowl winners in recent history, something that you can take Kansas City with Kelsick. You can take New England, of course, with the Gronk, the two before that. You can look at the Eagles with Ertz. And as much as they say that, Carson Wentz had nobody to throw to, he actually had 2 good tight ends. Those 2 tight ends and their running back were actually what saved that team's ass. And Zach Ertz and Dallas Gephardt. And I know I mispronounced the name, but screw y'all, okay? I just don't. So that is an area where the Dallas Cowboys fell way short. Now, you can look at Blake Jarwin. Now, here's what's interesting. Okay, good. Now, I'm just going to go through with the numbers here. In the 2 years we've had Blake Jarwin, 2018, he averaged 11.4 yards per reception. That's 3 full yards better than what Jason Witten had last year. He only had 27 receptions, but still had 307 yards, 3 TDs. This past year, still being the number 2 tight end, who did more blocking than anything else, really, 31 receptions, he bumped up almost a half a yard to 11.8 yards per reception. 365 yards with a 75% catch percentage. That's 3% higher than Jason Witten just in catching the football. And you look at how many times we dropped the football this past year, That's key. You need to be able to hold on to the ball. And only had one less touchdown than Jason Witten on less than half of the receptions. So his touchdown percentage is point 0.9 versus point 0.6. I'm sorry, 0.09, 9% versus 6%. That's a major improvement. For example, if you just took the same catches, the 63 that Jason Witten had, versus putting Blake Jarwin in those shoes, you go from 529 yards to 743 yards. And you also add on there 2.5 more touchdowns. And see, this is where, as you go through with Jason Witten being one of the great first really pass catching tight ends that ushered in a whole new era. One thing the Dallas Cowboys always had was a tight end who became the security blanket. When shit happens, when the play's breaking down, you go to the tight end. It was Jay Novacek, and it was Jason Witten. But unfortunately, that time has passed. I mean, when you think about 17 years in the NFL, come on, man. You need somebody that's a little bit younger. And you can look at Blake Jarwin stepping into that position and now not living in the shadow and not being the afterthought, being the guy. Potentially, you see the evolution of this offense completely. Because now, my thoughts are this, and maybe I'm, excuse me. When you look at the Cowboys offense, last year, there were so many moving parts. You got Amari Cooper on the outside. You've got Michael Gallup, who took a leap last year. Okay, you had Randall Cobb, and then you still had to worry about Zeke Elliott. If you're a defense, and you got to say, who's more important to cover? Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Randall Cobb, or Jason Witten? If you had to say one of those four guys is going to catch a pass, which one would you want it to be if you're the defensive coordinator? You look and you say you want it to be Jason Witten. Even if he catches the ball, he's not taking it to the house. He's not taking it to the house. Michael Gallup can, Randall Cobb can, Amari Cooper can. So if you have to pick and choose which way you're going to have to let them try and focus or make a play, you kind of leave Jason Witten open and figure we'll be able to get him. And I think defenses did that a lot. They would rather challenge you. It's kind of like a prevent defense. We're going to make sure that this guy and this guy doesn't beat us because we don't think that guy can anymore. And that will change the strategy for everybody else. If you're looking at Blake Jarwin, who averaged 11.4 yards reception, who can move pretty good, you can't have that philosophy against the Dallas Cowboys offense because now he can kill you too. So that means not only will that position get more numbers, but because now you also have to look at saying we have to focus on him as well, that makes it easier for everybody else across the board. I always say, I learned in Boy Scouts, we had a scoutmaster who took new scouts. He said, here, come here. He had pieces of rope. He said, tie a knot. So he tied a knot. Okay. Hey, come on up here. Took those two pieces tied together and grabbed another piece. Tie them together. Boom. One more scout. Boom. So you got 4 pieces of rope that have now been tied together in one. And as he holds this piece of rope, what he says is, this rope is only as good as its weakest link. You pull on it, whichever one is the weakest, it all breaks. And that's the truth. And unfortunately, tight end was, you could look in that offense and say that was one of the weakest links on there. But potentially has the chance to really become a major improvement for the offense. And so that's where I look at that and say, I think the tight end position will be the position that we see the most improvement on. We'll see when the season gets here. The next time what we'll do is we'll look at what's going to be the biggest negative for the Dallas Cowboys offense, and then we'll start working on the defense as well. I'm Mark Holmes. I hope you have a blessed Sunday. The weather, it actually looks like, it looks beautiful looking at my door down here. Temperature dropped by about 10 degrees, so it's not quite so hot. So I think I'm going to go for a walk with my wonderful wife. And then I got work to do in the shop because I got shot glass racks that are coming to you guys and girls. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you guys soon.